All right. Good morning, District 9. My name is Megan Hammonds-Roach. I am your new Connection Engagement District Rep. And this morning, it's myself and District Director Donna Wesley just having, a chat about hot topics in athletic training world today.
Good morning, Megan. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
I'm excited as well. So, as you know, there's all sorts of hot topics going on right now in our athletic training world. And we want to just talk about some things that members have questions about, or things that you could possibly give us insight on as what's going on with the NATA.
Sure.
All right. So, the first question or topic we can talk about is membership. Like, why should we all be members?
I think it's important I'd like to hope that every athletic trainer would want to be a part of the NATA because it is our national voice. It is our professional association, and it is our voice in DC. It's our voice to larger entities. Acting alone, we can only do a little bit kind of in our local area, but being a part of the NATA is a bigger picture. It's through the work with governmental affairs, we have a voice in Washington, D.C., and have a seat at the table on some bigger discussions that it would be impossible for me to do as Donna Wesley myself. But that gives us a national voice and helps to promote and advance the profession on not just a national level, but also an international level.
All right. Now I am someone who has been part of in my career, Hit the Hill days, because you talked about our voice in DC. What are those days like for you, that ones that you've experienced? I know for me, I was in Virginia at the time, so I got to meet with my reps from my state and from my local district, which for me was awesome because some of them had an idea of what an athletic trainer was and others had no clue. We had to do the whole, that person that runs out when somebody gets hurt, like an NFL game, they go, yeah, I'm like, that's what we do, but we actually do more. So for me, that was always kind of a cool experience, getting able to talk to them about our needs and things that we need to be able to do our jobs, whether it was continuing our jobs when we cross state lines and stuff like that. So what does your experience be with Hit the Hill Day, or anybody that's never experienced it? Kind of give them an idea of what it's like.
I think Hit the Hill Day is a phenomenal opportunity for athletic trainers to see what the federal government is like and to advocate at that level. I've been a part of several, including kind of the first one that was a part of one of our conventions in Baltimore. I think we had 3 bus loads of convention attendees that just went up to DC one day and met with our state and senators and representatives, and kind of just introduced ourselves, told them what athletic trainers were, and have had a couple topics that we were looking at. That Licensure Clarity Act, kind of allowing athletic trainers or healthcare professionals to practice across state lines, was one of those. But other bills that are advocating for athlete safety. It's a great experience. And just, if you haven't been to the nation's capital, to do that and to just be a part of the process. You're very fortunate if you actually get to sit down and meet with your representative. Usually it's meeting with a staff member. And a lot of times some of the staff members are a little bit more familiar because they tend to be a little bit younger. And a lot of those may actually have been athletes in high school or college, or so have been exposed. But you'll meet with, a lot of times it's their health liaison or chief of staff or other individuals. So if you actually get to sit down and meet one-on-one with your representative, or your senator, then that's great. But establishing that contact lets them know who you are, and to excuse me, to be a contact on health issues. And then it also gives you the opportunity to reach out when they are back home in their area, to continue that relationship, and to maybe invite them to your facility to see what it's like, get to experience game day, get to be back engaged with their constituents. Is a great opportunity for athletic trainers to advocate at the local level, but have an impact at the larger federal level as well.
Awesome. So besides governmental affairs as a great benefit that's there for us to, advocate for everything that we are trying to do across not just our states and our districts, but the nation, what other benefits do our memberships give us?
The membership, I don't know that a lot of people truly realize that your NATA membership gives you membership in 3 different associations: the NATA, your respective district, and your respective state that you affiliate your membership with. So that's 3 distinct organizations that you're a member of. And there's opportunities and benefits at each of those levels. One of the most frequently utilized is the continuing education, whether that's the 10 CEU credits for the NATA's Professional Development Center, but you also get discounts for attending in-person events at the state, district, and national level. So the continuing education is a big part of it. For NATA members, you also get a discount on the BOC certification maintenance fee, and that is a new kind of topic this year. It's a
Pretty hot topic right now. Why
it
they
is.
separate?
The discounted fee has always been there, but the BOC has decided that they want to collect that separately. So that's starting in 2023, and going forward, that will be a annual collection on the BOC. When you go into your to your BOC profile, you'll have to make sure that you pay that before December 31st each year. For NATA members, there is a discount. I want to say of over maybe almost $12. I can't remember right off.
I know they have a breakdown now because there's also the specialty thing. So they have a breakdown thing. I saw that when I renewed mine the other week.
Great. But that's also an opportunity to discuss a little bit, because I think there might be some confusion or misunderstanding among our members about the different roles of various associations. The NATA is your professional association, and it's the advocacy. It is the kind of the network and professional development part of what you do as an athletic trainer. Whereas the Board of Certification, they are in charge of your ATC credential. They establish the certification exam, they do the specialty certifications, they determine what it takes to maintain your credential. They have their own board, they have their own leadership, and a completely separate affiliate of the NATA. There was a time when it was NATA BOC and they were together. However, now they are completely separate entities.
Right.
Then there's also the CADE, which is the Commission on Accreditation of Athletic Training Education. They establish the requirements for education programs, looking at facilities, looking at education standards. So they establish those standards, anything to do with the educational component, whether it's fellowships, whether it's master's programs, or anything to do with education. They handle that, and that again is a completely separate entity with their own leadership and direction. So that's another component. Yes, all of these are part of the strategic alliance that work to promote and advance the profession overall, but each different organization has a separate mission, separate leadership, and separate priorities, with the ultimate purpose being advancing and promoting the athletic training profession, but different areas to get there.
So now you mentioned that all of our membership dues cover 3 different associations: the national, our district, and our state level. Something that I've been a member since I was a sophomore in college. My professors, my clinical ed coordinator and program director, are huge advocates of being members. So I've been one since I was like 19 years old. So for me, I'm pretty familiar with the website, but one thing I did not realize, there's a cost calculator and you can see your breakdown. And I thought that's actually pretty handy, so that members or potential members can see where their money is going. I mean, I always knew my money went to the state, district, and national level, but I think it's cool how they give you the breakdown. And so you can see what your state's getting from your dues, and that the NATA is not getting all of it.
Right. And that's a new feature this year that our membership department developed. And you could actually kind of go in and look at both professional and student, where that goes, and compare where it is for you in Georgia to what it might be to an athletic trainer in, say, Arizona. As part of District 9, we have the athletic trainers in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we have a good portion, and we are actually one of the higher membership levels in the NATA. So that's good, and we want to keep that. But we actually are kind of in the middle in terms of what your district dues are. And then also for most states, what your state's dues are. Those are determined, the state and district dues are determined by your state leaders individually, and then also your district leadership determines what your district dues are. And for District 9, there's also $5 of your district dues goes to support the NATA Research and Education Foundation. So that is a way that members are giving back, and it's supporting our profession on the research side as well.
Awesome. It's also a great way that they give back money to students for scholarships, the foundation.
Absolutely. And we've been fortunate in District 9 to have a lot of students receive those scholarships through the foundation. And just a note right here, it is scholarship time. So the application portal is open. If you're interested, get those scholarship applications in for the NATA Foundation.
Yes. And our big thing coming up in February for the district.
We are really excited to have our first ever. It's a combined meeting. It's a combined location. Let's put it at that. We will have opportunities for students and professionals to network together and attend educational sessions together. But we're not abandoning our tradition. We will have our 48th annual SEATA Clinical Symposium for our professional members, in conjunction with our 38th annual SEATA Student Symposium. So it's separate programming, but there's opportunities for learning together and networking. And then we have some special events. Our symposium oversight committee is doing a good job of trying to help promote that a little bit and get some fun activities to take advantage of our location being at the Sandestin Golf and Beach Resort in Sandestin, Florida.
I know for me, when I was a student, I loved the district meeting because it was a great time to network. And some of the certifieds that I met back then, I'm still in contact with.
And that's
Like, it's
great.
amazing how long, and I think the last meeting I went to, a couple of them were like, I've known you since I was in college. Yes. We're not going to talk about how old we are now, but yes. But it's amazing to see those relationships continue and develop. And sometimes I think as students, and this may be different now compared to when we were in school, you kind of get in awe of all the certifieds that you meet and hear all the cool things they've done. And I think it's really cool. You can continue those relationships and they talk about the things that you're doing now. And you're just like, but you're the one who did this the longest. And I'm still in awe of some of them that I've known for, almost 20 years.
Exactly. It is great to see the relationships, and that's one of the true benefits I think of our profession is the relationships that we build not only with our athletes but with our colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
I remember attending one of the first athletic training student symposiums in Tuscaloosa when I was in school, and hearing some of the leaders and the individuals that were presenting there, like RT Floyd and Dr. Mary Beth Hordusky. And I remember sitting there as a student, just, taking it in. And then now to one, have served alongside them on the district board, but then to be sitting in this seat as district director, kind of following in their footsteps. I'm in awe, and it's not lost on me that history, and that kind of legacy that they've left, and wanting to not screw this up, because they've they set the bar extremely high. And those relationships, I never coming up as in school, I never would have thought that I would be in this seat. It was never on my radar, but getting the opportunity to be involved. And I think that's another benefit that's not really addressed, and people don't see it as a benefit, but being a member gives you the opportunity to be involved. Mm-hmm. And to help address some of the concerns, to help be a part of the change that you want to see, and to give back to a profession that's given me so much. The opportunity to be involved at committees, the opportunity to kind of see pull that curtain back and see some of the behind the scenes of what goes on. The average member has no idea what truly goes on at the committee level and at the district level, and to be a member gives you that opportunity that I think more people need to take advantage of. Get outside your comfort zone a little bit, take that step, be willing to put your name out there and get involved. But the rewards from that, I think, are significant.
I completely agree. I got involved on EDAC for District 3, and I was on there for 4 years, and now I'm in District 9 and, serving as CEC, and you do get to see all the behind the scenes. And I think you're right. The average member has no idea what goes in, but I think it would be cool to see more members get involved so they can see what goes in. Doesn't matter where you are in your career. Even, those that are early in their career, they're like the ones that need to get involved sometimes. And I love the collaboration. I've been on committees where you have different people from all spectrums of your career, and it's amazing to see the collaboration between everyone. because
Right.
you have the ATs that have seen how it's gone or where it's come from, and they have these ideas, and then you have people that are early in their career and they have these new innovative ideas, and just the combination of them is amazing, and everything that we have accomplished and that we want to continue to accomplish. um, it's just amazing. One of my favorite things I was on was the transition to practices, the work group that we did, and that was just, to me, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too, because it was a lot to see how we're going to do all this, and how we took it as this small thing. And then I remember in a meeting, it like blew up to this bigger thing. Like, no, we need to take it here, because we all transition, whether you're early in your career, middle of your career, end of your career, or you transition from one work setting to the next work setting. It was just like, we started talking about this, and all of a sudden, I think 15-20 minutes in, we were all like, no, but we're all still transitioning. Like, you don't stop. And so it was just cool to see that, and just to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And that's, one of the good things and the interesting things of some of these work groups that develop, and they just snowball into like some bigger pictures or bigger discussions and opportunities.
Mhm.
And, we all transition. We're all, hopefully we're all trying to be lifelong learners.
Right.
And whether it's learning about the profession, or learning what I have to do to prepare for one day for retiring, there's all sorts of things. And the interconnectivity of various aspects is a great opportunity. And I think that engaging that diversity, whether it's diversity in experience, whether it's that diversity in setting, whether it's that ethnicity, everything is better when you engage and you appreciate and you respect that diversity and bring it to the table, and can have these open, honest conversations. And that's when you see growth in and advancement. And that's what we're trying to do. That's one of the things we that came out of the DEIA task force, seeing some ways that we can improve our committee vacancy and involvement and recruitment for members for our various committees. And we saw that really in D9 with the number of candidates that we had for our open positions this time. You participated in that through Gather, and that was some people, yes, find Gather a little challenging, and it's not necessarily what some people enjoy, but it is a way to streamline and be more transparent in our call for committee candidates. There's a lot of people, oh, it's just it's who and it's the same people that are always serving and stuff. But Gather gave us a way for open it up. Anybody that's wanted to, any member can apply for that, and we go through the review process and interviews, and then it's looking at the needs of the committee, if what candidate best suits that and might be the best fit for the committee at that time. And you are a shining example of that. I think that's awesome, and glad to have you in D9. But yes, you do have some D3 experience, but this connection and engagement committee is a completely kind of new committee.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking to some of our other committees, but I think this is a great opportunity, and big things to come.
And I love that you can use Gather to refer people too. Like,
absolutely.
I love the fact that I know myself, I went on there. There's a couple like at-large vacancies or vacancies they were for early professionals that were looking for people that had, less than 7 years experience. And I knew a couple people, and I was like, oh, they'd be great. And I was like, oh, wait, I can just hit refer, send it on to them.
Absolutely. And that's, sometimes just asking people,
Mhm.
making that personal ask. And I utilize that green button on Gather, kind of like, hey, submit a nomination, somebody. So that's an easy way. If you're going through there and you see a positions open, you think, hey, I think so-and-so might be, whether you pick up the phone call and say, hey, I need you to do this, but by using that green button in there, you can automatically, it generates an email and lets them know that the position's open and somebody thinks they would be a good fit, and here's how they apply for it. So take
Yeah.
advantage of that.
People definitely need to use that little green button. I knew it a couple of times. I was like, ooh, I like this.
I think that's that was one of the things on the district level there at that we're going to be looking at, because District 9 had a very I'd call it successful committee process. We had a lot of candidates. I know there's some districts that were having difficulty filling some of theirs, but I was like, I told people, I'm like, hey, utilize this green button. If you've got somebody in mind, send them the information about it. And I think we had a lot of candidates that were nominated that way. So.
All right. Speaking about getting involved in District 9, I know I got involved. I utilized Gather, and my supervisor actually thought I'd be a great fit for this role. And he's like, hey, what about this? And I was like, sure, why not? I'll apply. I'd love to get back involved in volunteering to the NATA. So people that want to get involved in our district level, how do they do that? Where do they go? What do they look at?
Well, the district level, again, we are making a concerted effort to use Gather to promote all of our positions. Also, make sure that you're following all of our social media channels, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think our social media and our marketing group is doing a great job there. Our SEATA website positions will be posted there and through our e-blast. So make sure you're getting all the communications from the district. But I think there's also we need to get more members involved at the state level, because again, your NATA membership gives you membership at the state level. And it's easy to see. I won't say easy. It's probably a quicker change at the state level and involvement. And that's going to be your primary network of colleagues. In District 9, we have on our website a committee interest form for anyone that's interested in volunteering. It is a form. You go in, submit your information, let us know what your interest areas are. And that information goes to the committee chairs of the various committees, as well as your state president, so that if anytime there's an opportunity, those forms are available for our members and the decision makers to kind of see who's interested. And that would be our first reach out to should something become available. That's available all the time. It doesn't necessarily have to have a specific call open, but that's an opportunity. So that committee interest form on the SEATA website is a big one. I think you can look, if you go onto our committee pages, I think each committee has a separate, like a committee interest form there that's linked, and you just drop down menus, indicate which committees you're interested in.
Yeah. All right, so let's round out our conversation about membership. We don't have to say what year we joined if we don't want to, but let's talk about when we joined and why we joined.
Well, I'm proud to say I've been an NATA member for over 30 years. So that's going back in a different century. But I joined because, one, it was kind of expected through my program, but my mentors were actively involved in the association, both kind of state, district, and national. I'm fortunate I graduated from the University of Alabama for my undergraduate degree, and a lot of my mentors are NATA Hall of Fame, members now. That's Dr. Ken Wright, Bill McDonald, R.T. Floyd was getting his doctorate there, and Ron Corson was there at the time. So all four of those are NATA Hall of Fame members. And then I also had Sherry Kimbrough and Sanglida in their Alta Hall of Fame and state, so they were involved, not necessarily at the forefront, but doing committee work, district and state level. So seeing them involved in their commitment and just wanting to make a difference and make the profession better for those behind. And I think that's something that stood out. It's nothing I've never questioned why I was an NATA member. I thought it was kind of my duty to the profession to be involved. Did I always want to be involved? Probably not to the level that I am, but kind of doing what I could. I kind of, my path to leadership was, I was in Mississippi for over 20 years. After I graduated Alabama, I was a graduate assistant at the University of Mississippi. And there again, worked with some phenomenal athletic trainers, Leroy Mullins, Lynette Johnson Schwartz, Lynette Schwartz Johnson, sorry about that. And Spence Fletcher and Jeffrey Moore, all of those were my mentors, and seeing them being involved. We, at the time, Mississippi was moving the state meeting around to different places, and we hosted it in Tupelo. Tupelo was my first job with North Mississippi Medical Center in Tupelo as an outreach athletic trainer. So we hosted it in 2000, and opportunity kind of came along, and I was just kind of like, I'd gotten involved in the meeting planning kind of since we were hosting it. I'd gotten a little bit more involved in the meeting planning, and I was just like, I kind of like this doing, I can do this. So the opportunity to run for state secretary. And I was like, I'll throw my name in there. I had no interest and no inkling that I would win, just because I was an outsider from Alabama, and Mississippi was rich in athletic trainers from the University of Southern Mississippi. So I was like, I'll run, just we'll see what happens. And lo and behold, I was elected secretary of the Mississippi Athletic Trainers Association. So I served as state secretary for 4 years. And during that time, we were kind of beginning the process of updating our state practice act. And I'd taken some interest in that. And then our state president was not going to run again. And then our vice president, who kind of, you anticipate the vice president wanting to roll, you climb that ladder kind of thing. Matt Smith at the time asked me one day, he knew he was going to be leaving the state. He was like, I really think you need to run for president. And I was just like, that is so far outside of my comfort zone. I was not really thinking about that. But then I was like, okay, if he believes in me and he wants, and he can, he's asking me, then he thinks I can do it. So I was like, okay, I'll put my name in the hat. I'll run, not anticipating being elected, but I was fortunate enough to be elected and served as Mississippi president from 2004 to 2012. So as part of your state presidency, you get the opportunity to serve on the district board for SEATA, for District 9. So for those 8 years, I was a board member for SEATA and loved that. Great opportunity networking with 6 other state presidents. And then, like I said, being a part of leadership with Dr. Wardusky and Jim Mackey and R.T. Floyd and Chris Gillespie. And, so having that experience as a board member, I think helped me to kind of go through the path. And then when the opportunity presented itself for me to run for district secretary, I was like, sure, so I did that. Also had the opportunity during the end part of my president's term in Mississippi to be a part of what at the time was called the Component Relations Task Force. And it was a task force at the national level that was looking at the NATA and relationships with all sorts of like state associations, districts, looking at sponsors, looking at anybody that was a stakeholder in the athletic training profession. So from the recommendations from the Component Relations Task Force, developed the State Association Advisory Committee. So that was a great way for more direct communication with state associations and the NATA. So I was a part of that. And that, again, once you get into leadership, it's either going to go 2 ways. You're either going to get burnt out really quick and be like, I'm done, or you're going to get the bug, and it's just kind of going to grow and grow in that involvement. So seeing leadership at state, district, national committee, and then now on the NATA board is great. And so that's kind of my story. I think it's a little bit of, again, the expectation was there, and you seeing that example and following the lead of my mentors and wanting to be involved and give back. I'd like to think a lot of us have that, but then I think there's some others that it's kind of an intrinsic motivation to be involved and to make that change. So what's your story?
Well, I joined, like I said earlier, I was a sophomore in undergrad at Western Carolina University, and my program director, Jay Cyphers, and clinic coordinator, Jill Manners, who are still my mentors. I talk to Jill as much as I can, probably. Sometimes probably not enough. And they were big advocates. You become an NATA member because this is all they do for us. And it wasn't just you get an NATA magazine or, it wasn't just that. It was they're out there advocating for us so that we can do more, that we do have licensure across, different states, and that we're able to do this, and where people don't just see us as quote unquote water boys. Because back then, that's what I think everybody saw us as. We were the kids with the water bottles. It was just like, that's not our job. Like as a student, yeah, we didn't get to do as much as certifieds, but they were very big components of you become an NAC member and you give back for somebody that's done for you. Because a lot of members, I don't think, see, like we said earlier, the behind the scenes and everything that they do for us. I mean, they advocate for us, day in and day out, so that we all can still hold our own licensure in our states. And so that we're able to do different things, and we're not just giving out water. People don't just see us as that. People see us as healthcare providers and lifesavers. So yeah, I've been a member since I was like 19 years old. I'm 37 now, so almost 20 years. So that was just their thing. And they are involved at the state and district level as well. Like I remember going to Mid-Atlantic, at the end of my sophomore year. We all went. It was a blast. I met R.T. Floyd that year. He was there. Yes.
You can never forget meeting R.T. Floyd.
No, I've met some like amazing people in the profession. I mean, Kevin King was the one who got me involved in EDAC. He's like, I'm rolling off, you're rolling on. I was like, what? He's like, we just had this conversation. He's like, you're going to be great for it. I was like, I don't have any committee experience. He's like, you're fine. You're an athlete trainer. You got this. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. He's like, you've gone through situations. You understand the importance of diversity. You're going to be fine. I was like, okay. And so
Yeah.
I applied.
It's having
Yeah, I
others see a
applied.
little bit of confidence in you and just recognize that ability. And sometimes you don't see it in yourself, but again, it's somebody making that ask.
Yeah.
And growth comes from a little bit of discomfort. And so
It is getting outside your box. It's having those tough conversations. It's, it's having those raw conversations with some ATs or students. Like, and I always felt like I've asked questions. I'm like, don't hold back. Like, just, I don't need sugarcoat answers when I ask people things. Just tell me. And I think I've developed some of those best relationships from those conversations.
right.
And the best part is I got to get outside my comfort zone. I've met ATs outside my district and state, which was amazing. Because I mean, I think sometimes you get so comfortable with the people you talk to in your little bubble, whether it's your state bubble, and even within your state. I mean, we all have those little bubbles that I think, talk to the most. And then you get to the district level and you get to meet people from other states. And then you get to the national level and you're having conversations with people in California about things that are going on there. And they're asking you how you do things here. So yeah, it was nice to get outside my bubble. I mean, we talked about transitioning earlier. I mean, I transitioned to a new district and I had to get outside my bubble and meet new people. I am fortunate my mentor moved to Georgia before I did.
And we're great. We are so happy to have Dr. Manners here, and she's actively a part of the planning for the education for our meeting in February. So a little connection there.
I first moved here, she's like, so when you getting involved? And I was like, I'm gonna get involved. Let me get my feet settled. Like, I just bought a house, got a new job, getting married. Can I get my feet settled first? And then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But every time she's like, when are you getting involved? What do you want to get involved in? I'm like, okay, these are things that I'm interested in. I'm really interested in everything. I just want to give back because the NATA has done so much, not just for me, like personally. I mean, they have, but it's not like they picked me out and said, we're going to do this for you. They do it for all of us. Like, and that is the best part.
That's great. Seeing the bigger picture, that it's not, what does the NATA do for me? It's like, okay, how can you help give back to the NATA as well? Your membership is a little bit of what you make it to be. You see more value if you are involved and kind of get exposure to some of that behind the scenes a little bit, whether that's at the state level, whether that's at the district level, or the national level. It's a great.
Realize it doesn't have to be just committees.
Exactly.
Reaching out to your state district, or even if the national meeting is in your state, reaching out and seeing when they need volunteer help.
Oh,
when it was in Baltimore, I helped. I was a moderator for something. I gave, you're there to give out just little things. It's grabbing the gifts, the speaker gifts, and handing them out. It's making sure rooms are set up. It's little things that does not go unnoticed.
Right. And there's, that's again at the state and district level. And then in 24 and 25, we get the opportunity to host national convention in our district again. So there'll be opportunities for members to be involved as much as they want, or as little as they want, with the NATA convention. Hopefully everything goes smooth, and we don't have any other hiccups like COVID did for a few years there, which disrupted our Atlanta and Orlando opportunities. But we'll get New Orleans and Orlando again in 25. So, but that's again is a way to give back, make some great connections, and then depending on if you're able to volunteer and how many hours, it's also a way to help get some reimbursement for attending convention.
It is.
So that's a benefit there.
Yep.
All right, what else you got for me?
Oh, I think that's our biggest thing on membership is like, discuss like what it does for us. So people know that it's more than just 10 free CEUs in the NATA news. And
There's the research, we get the publications, the position statements. Those are members that work on those position statements and professionals that are helping to kind of get the position statements, the best practices, those documents that are going to be looked to guide the profession for anybody, member or not. Those are the documents that are looked to for the certification exam, and that might be looked at in a court of law should something negative happen. We talked a little bit about benefits. I think one of the newer, and I can't say that it's truly new now because it's been around for a while, but AT's Care is a great member benefit. It's a committee it's a commission, not a committee, it's a commission of AT peers that have specialty training to handle individuals in crisis. And being able to talk with a peer that understands where you are, what you're going through, and can help you through those times is beneficial. And we have a great commission chair right now. One of our co-chairs is Lovey Tabron from Georgia as well. So Lovey is actively involved and been involved with that commission since its inception. So kudos to her on that. And then, we've got district team, and then also we have some states that are developing that team at that level. So
I know it's a great commission. We here in the county I'm in, we had a cheerleader that was killed. And those ATs they definitely needed somebody to reach out to. And of course, I was like, gotta use AT's Care because they're going to be the people that you want to talk to because they just needed someone to talk to. Because it's not easy for any of us to lose a colleague or an athlete. And you and I both know this firsthand. You get so close to these kids.
Absolutely.
Like they become your own.
Absolutely.
I got parents that are like, nah, they're yours when they're there. And I'm like, no, come get them, please. You become so close. And so when you lose one, it hurts. It's hard. And so I know they reached out to AT Care. They just needed it.
Yep.
Because it hit home for them. You see the kid one day and that night they're gone. So
absolutely. The Career Center is another resource, and I'm sure probably a hot topic with a lot of discussion on why certain jobs are advertised and salaries and all that. The Career Center, back when it started, you have to remember there wasn't Indeed, there wasn't LinkedIn, there's it's been
it was our go-to.
time. No,
it was our go-to.
Yeah, it was. And I don't think the average, again, there's a lot of things that the average member doesn't really understand, but the districts get money from the Career Center for jobs that are posted on the Career Center. And the NATA's role it's promoting the position. It's not, we cannot tell companies what they have to pay, right. Where it's not, we don't have that much authority. We're not controlling. There's certain legal restrictions that an association can have in determining that. So people are like, why not form a union? Why not ATs? There's certain states that are non-union states, they're
Mhm.
right to work states. I mean, that's a lot of states in our district are right to work states.
Yep.
So there's certain things with that. We recently, the NATA, President Derringer and Joe Green and Amy Callender were at a conference. I want to say it was an orthopedic physician conference, I believe. But they had a lot of hospital administrators and different people in the audience, but they were presenting on the value of athletic trainers, and they mentioned the salary survey. And Amy Callender just happened to be sitting in the audience during the presentation next to a lady from Vanderbilt University, and just discussing, and the lady was like, we really love our athletic trainers, but we can't get and keep our athletic trainers. And then the salary survey discussion was on the board, and she was like, that's why we can't, we don't pay them enough.
Mhm.
And so it's that light went off. And so, she was asking, she was like, where do I get the salary information? Where can you, so those kind of relationships, and having the NATA be in front and representing the profession at some of these meetings, to the higher ups, and having the salary survey data, and having some of the value models that our committees have worked on available, is very beneficial in increasing AT value and compensation. And we have the AT compensation task force that's another recent development of some of these discussions.
Mhm.
And so it's those connections. And if you haven't had a chance, that podcast, I think it's episode 3 of the podcast, has a lot to do with HR and ATs understanding the terminology that HR uses when looking at compensation. So I think a lot of members might find that podcast specifically beneficial, so that they can speak the same language as the HR people that are determining all the numbers.
Words matter huge in HR. I learned that when I got a job here, because some places don't count grad school.
Right.
And they just said, did you work? I said, yes, I worked. Like, I was a grad assistant, I worked football. They're like, well, you worked, so those count. And I was like, okay. Like, words matter. I guess whatever word I used on my resume, she said, no, you provided care. I think because I provided care to whatever. And I was like, oh, and that person in HR at the hospital taught me words matter. And I was like, good to know. Because those are things that we all don't think about.
Right.
Because some employers look at it like, oh, you went to grad school, but you didn't put that you provided care as a graduate assistant.
Right.
And I was like, words, yeah. So that podcast, yes, HR stuff is very important. I think it's something everybody should definitely look into. Speaking of legal stuff, discounts and different things. Some people don't realize you get a discount on liability insurance.
Yes.
Some employers, I mean, my employer has it, but all of us also have additional. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have an additional, especially if you're doing PR at events.
Absolutely. To have a separate individual policy. And if you are doing any kind of PRN, then yes, you need your own liability insurance. And through our preferred provider network, there are different discounts that are involved and available, up to 15 to 20% in some different areas. And that's something that our membership services department is continuing to look at. So if there's member benefits that you want to see, or is like, hey, why are ATs not a part of this? Reach out to member services, or reach out to me as your district director, and I can take those requests to membership services. And there are things, again, behind the scenes that our staff is working on continually to kind of get those recognitions and those partners and discounts for us. The other thing that I would suggest that we need to make sure that all ATs do, get your NPI. There's
Yeah.
some discounts that if it's just a matter of your NPI and what category and things like that. But again, that NPI is big, and it's one of the things that on the federal level, if there's anything healthcare related, that they ask, okay, how many NPI or how many athletic trainers, and they look at that NPI number. When the if our certification number is here, but our only number of NPIs are here, it's like, why is that different? It's just,
yeah, it's important.
it's important. And
Yeah.
plus it's actually some legal requirements for electronic medical record communications with your physicians. So make sure that you've got that NPI.
Yes, especially if you want some discounts. I learned that during the pandemic because most shopping was done online. And of course, there's all the first responders or frontline workers or all medical workers get a discount. And some of them just wanted your NPI number. They didn't need your hospital email or anything like that. You put your NPI in there. It's like, dang, I got 15% off these pair of shoes. Perfect. Because let's face it, most of us go through tennis shoes like crazy. That's usually my most purchased thing these days. But yes, MPI number is definitely important, not just for discounts, but for other things too.
Great.
Yeah. I think that's all I got for you today.
Well, all right. Well, just know that I am happy to answer any questions at any time, and not only from you, but from members. You can reach out and email me at director@SEATA.org. So please contact me with questions. And let's try to make some of these conversations. We can get some of our committees involved and have some of these communications more frequent. And
Yes.
if the members like this, if they want to submit questions, they can do that. We will work with our Marcom team to have some maybe some polls or different things and increase that interaction and look for future opportunities to ask our district leadership or committees various questions and get information.
Yes, because we want to hear from all the members and even non-members. We just want to hear from all the athletic trainers.
Yeah, but don't forget, we do want members. So remember to renew your NATA membership
we want to
by
hear
December 31st.
We want to hear from those non-members as to why you're not members. Like those are things we want to hear.
And let us know what we can do to win you back.
Yes.
I mean, those are those difficult conversations, but that helps us figure out ways that we can make the NATA better and help serve everyone.
That helps strengthen us, strengthen our numbers.
Absolutely.
Makes us, even better and kind of more of a force to deal with when it comes to different situations that might arise.
We can only do so much alone, but together we can do a lot more.
Yes, we can. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. I've enjoyed our time. Appreciate it.
Me too. A whole hour just flew by. I didn't realize that. I was like, whoa. So.
All right. Well, you have a great day, and appreciate you and your work on behalf of engaging all of our members in District 9.
Thank you. I will keep trying to do my best and serve the district as needed.